Welcome back to another episode of 4Expedition Adventurer. In this episode, we venture out to northern New Mexico to explore the Rocky Mountains in search of land to purchase for 4Expedition. Come along on this exciting springtime journey to the land of enchantment. The next episode of 4Expedition Adventure starts now. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of 4Expedition Adventure. I'm Scott Luthold. Today I'm coming to you from northern New Mexico, and I had planned on May 1st to hit the road in my RV and travel around the West and look at all these small towns that I'm interested in possibly buying a piece of land in and just kind of getting a feeling for the places that I'm most interested in. However, I decided in mid-April, which was this past week, to hit the road and head up to New Mexico just to look at a couple of pieces of land up in the southern tip of the Rocky Mountains in far northern New Mexico. And today I find myself in Santa Fe. I've been exploring the town of Santa Fe today, and as you'll see by watching this video, I got myself way up into northern New Mexico near Taos and up in the mountains around that area. I've just fallen in love with this area, and I think it's probably changed my mind about having to go travel around the West and look for land and look for an area that I think is fitting for me to sort of establish roots and plan out the rest of my life, if you will. My goal is to sort of get established, buy some property, expand and develop 4Expedition on it and some other ventures that I'm interested in taking forward. And once I do that, then still traveling the world and taking adventures around the world and so forth. However, in this region, there's not a ton of people. And so what I really love about that is when I get up into the mountains, there's really not a lot of people that you're going to experience camping and using side-by-sides and all of that. I would say that this region is about 2 to 3 hours drive to any large city, and that would be Albuquerque would be the closest, or Pueblo, Colorado, and both of those are under 1 million people. So the largest cities nearby are pretty small compared to where I live in Carefree, Arizona, which is on the edge of a city of 6 million people. So anyway, this is a really exciting time for me, and I'm really looking forward to sharing this episode with you. So sit back and enjoy the ride. Well, good morning, my friends. This morning we're cruising across the great state of New Mexico in my 2017 Sprinter Winnebago Navion. First maiden voyage trip with this vehicle. I've had it now for several months, with the intention of using it over the summer to make my way around the West to start looking for land. Well, last night I was in Phoenix, probably around 5 p.m. I decided, hey, what the heck? Why don't I go on a road trip? Decided to head up toward Santa Fe and Taos, New Mexico. There's some land up above Taos in the mountains that I've been interested in looking at, and it's just one of the many different regions in the West that I've been considering buying land. So I thought, why not get in the vehicle and take off? And I just got to tell you, this vehicle, this type of a vehicle, is really quite the freedom machine. Now, it's not four-wheel drive, it's not lifted, so it's not an overland type vehicle, but it does have a turbo diesel engine that just hums. It's like a freight train on the highway, as my good friend Brian would say. I've been averaging between 16 and 20 miles per gallon, which is pretty good, and you hardly have to hit the press the gas pedal. Even on the uphills, man, going 60, 70 miles an hour passing vehicles on the uphills and hardly even pressing the gas pedal. It's really quite the engine. I think these turbo diesel Sprinters are pretty amazing. So anyway, I'm heading up to New Mexico, northern part of New Mexico. Taos is in the center of the state, but at the top of the state. So the top center, just south of the Colorado border. I'm gonna go up there. I've always wanted to spend some time in Taos and check that town out. I'm looking for small towns in the West that might be a great place to buy land and kind of set up a headquarters, if you will, for 4Expedition. Man, I really have to say, it is quite convenient to be able to just pull off the road, take a nap, pull off the road, go to the bathroom, pull off the road, have some breakfast, without having to get out of your vehicle. Don't really have to go anywhere. The only thing I'm spending money on right now is fuel, because I can pull off the highway onto an exit and sleep overnight if I want to, or as I get up into the mountains, or as I get going this summer, I'll be going off-grid more and spending some time. I had debated whether or not I wanted to trade in this Sprinter RV and get a travel trailer that I could pull behind the pickup truck, because my Ram truck will be sitting in Arizona for most of the summer and I'm making payments on it, so it'd really be nice to just be using it and have a travel trailer behind the truck, because the truck's capable to do that. It's got a decent towing capacity. I've got airbags in the back, so the Ram truck is certainly able to pull a decent sized travel trailer, 4,000 or 5,000 pound travel trailer. But I haven't made that decision yet. Another thing about the travel trailer that I thought was interesting is that in the state of Arizona, you only have to register trailers once, whereas this Sprinter RV, you've got to register it every year. And my registration on this thing is something like $1,200 a year. It's really expensive. So I haven't made any decisions about any of that stuff right now. Pretty much all I've done is I've purchased a tray to put my motorcycle on the back of this RV, and then who knows, I might switch things up before summer. I might go on my summer trip with this and be totally perfectly happy doing what I want to do. As most of you know, I believe in the right tools for the job, and so far I can't say that this is the wrong tool. So I'm going to use this and see how it goes, and who knows, if it turns out halfway through the summer I think I need to switch things up, maybe I'll just do that and head back to Arizona for a couple days and then just get back on the road. So I don't know. But for all intent and purposes at the moment, this thing's pretty great. I just pulled off into a truck stop. I didn't even have to go in. I just filled up my gas, pulled off into a parking space, and I'm making myself some breakfast now, and then I'll get back on the road. Where I'm heading to in the mountains outside of Taos is dropping into the teens, and I have not winterized this camper. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do. During the day, it gets up into the 50s and 60s up there in the mountains. And so long as the roads are clear, I do think they're going to get a little snow this weekend. So long as the roads are clear, I'll be able to take this up there during the day and maybe camp down in the valley down by Taos at night, because down in the valley, it should be in the 30s and 40s overnight. So we'll see. Anyway, this is a great trip. I love being spontaneous, and it's just really amazing for me that I am so mobile right now. As some of you probably know, I sold my property in Carefree, and then I sold my Subaru to Colin, as most of you know, my son Colin. So it's still going to be a part of Team 4X because he's a member. He's member number 2. And then I proceeded to sell his Subaru Outback. So I sold 2 vehicles and my real estate all in the same month. So I'm pretty free right now. I don't really have much in the way of bills. I don't have any debts. I've got some decent contracts with clients and can pretty much spend my entire summer working 100% on 4Expedition and the Team 4X member portal and making adventure videos, which is kind of a dream come true. And along the way, I'm literally spending my time looking for land to buy in order to take 4Expedition to the next level. Really exciting time for me, and I'm really looking forward to sharing that experience with all of you. So stay tuned. Mighty Rio Grande. Really flowing well. As you saw just a second ago, there were some people rafting down. The water's pretty high right now. It's the time of the year definitely to be doing some whitewater rafting on a river like this. I'm not really sure what the Rio headwaters is. I'll have to look into that. But as most of you know, the Rio makes its way all the way down to Mexico. Crosses the border, goes along Texas and the Mexican border. windy out there. All right, so we're climbing up out of the Rio Grande Gorge. When we get to the top of the hill, you're gonna see a beautiful view of snow-capped peaks. And those are the mountains that we're headed for. Whoa, look at that. It's a canyon. And then, boom. A little quiet here in Taos today. It's middle of April, so the weather is pretty windy, pretty typical for mountain regions this time of the year. Flagstaff's the same way. But walking up here on the Kit Carson Museum. This adobe. I'd love to build a house out of this. Look at that. Here's a good example. An original adobe brick and then covered over with this sort of mud plaster. Really cool. Man, what a gorgeous day. There hasn't been a breeze at all this morning. It's starting to pick up a little bit. There's a big raven here in the tree. A lot of you probably know one of the branding elements of my 4Expedition brand is the raven. And I just think they're just such an incredible bird. I just went up here in the tree watching me, probably waiting to see if I'll drop any food, something like that. But ravens are very intelligent birds. Anyway, I thought while I was sitting here waiting for my realtor friend to show up that I would do a few shout outs to a couple of people. So first of all, a couple of days ago, I went tooling around Phoenix and went to a number of RV dealerships looking to see what was out there, deciding whether or not this RV was the ideal vehicle for me for this summer, or maybe if I wanted to do a pull behind travel trailer with my Ram truck, or maybe even another slide in truck camp or something like that. But I already have this RV, so I'll probably just keep that. But interestingly enough, while I was at one of the dealers, I was sitting in my truck texting someone. I had my door open, and I'm texting along, and all of a sudden I hear somebody say, "For Expedition, Scott Luthold?" And I look up, and there's a gentleman standing at the front of my vehicle. So I jumped out. Turned out there's a guy named Andrew Crespin that lives in Mesa, and he proceeded to tell me that he's been watching my channel for about 2 years, and he seemed pretty excited to meet me. I thought that was really cool. And then we're talking for a little bit, and about 5-10 minutes later, all of a sudden, Hummer H3 shows up, and out hops a woman. It turns out it was his wife, and he called his wife to let her know that I was there and to come on down. So she came down from her house and drove down, 5-10 minutes away. And they were both just so cool to talk to, and I was excited to meet them. They were excited to meet me, and it was just really neat for me because I know I have a lot of subscribers, I have a lot of viewers. 125,000 people every month watch my channel, and many of those people I'll never personally get to meet. But when somebody reaches out, somebody sees me and they think that that I'd be willing to chat with them, and they come up to me and introduce themselves, I think that's just so cool. And he and his wife, her name's Tina, and he and his wife shared with me the fact that they own an acre property up in the mountains and what their plans are for it and their dreams. And I tried to start telling them a little bit about my life, but there was nothing that I could really share that they didn't already know. So I thought that was pretty cool. People that are that committed to watching my channel and subscribers of mine. And then after we departed from one another, about 15 minutes after we departed, boom, I get a notification pop up in my email that they signed up to become members of Team 4X. Man, that is just so awesome. I just really appreciate that willingness to get involved with what I'm doing. And it's a lot of hard work. And I've really spent a lot of time building this membership system. So when people reach out and share with me how much they enjoy what I do, and that and they knew so much about me, meaning that they diligently watch my episodes and really get something from them, that's really special for me. Being an outdoor adventurer is a part of who I am, but I'm also a creator and a storyteller and I'm a designer. And so when I create these videos, I put a lot of heart into them because I want them to be special, not only for you, but for me. I go back and watch my own videos sometimes, and they inspire me to get out there. Sometimes when I'm feeling like sitting home on the couch, I'll watch one of my own videos, and before you know it, I'm packed up and ready to go somewhere. So I just wanted to shout out to you, Andrew and Tina, and just let you know it was a pleasure meeting you both, and hope to meet you again soon, again down the road. And if anybody else spots me out on the road and wants to stop me and say hello, by all means do so. And then I also wanted to shout out once again to Team 4X member and a gentleman who's kind of becoming a friend of mine, Paul Bateman, who lives in the UK. And what's really cool about Paul is that, well, there's a number of things that are cool about Paul. Number one, he is a ranger in the UK, and his job every day is to catch poachers hunting for animals illegally in the UK. I think that's awesome. I can appreciate that. I don't have a problem with hunting, but if you're doing it illegally, I have a problem with that. And anyway, Paul went above and beyond and decided to become a member of Team 4X, and he sent me a picture on social media today of him receiving his package, and he told me that he wasn't going to open it until he could get out into a special place in nature to open his Team 4X member kit. So that shows me, Paul, that you really appreciate what I've done, and you see a lot of value in what I've created and sent to you. And what's really cool about Paul, too, is that he is the first member of Team 4X to go above and beyond and sign up to become a member, and to be so from another country off of the Americas. So we've got a number of Canadian members who I really, truly appreciate as well, and I've got members in 15 states. But Paul is the very first person who's a dedicated and committed member of Team 4X to sign up from a country off of the Americas. And so, Paul, I wanted to, again, shout out to you and thank you for that and show my appreciation for your kindness and support, and just always having such a positive attitude about what I'm doing. And that's really the kind of person, you're the kind of person, Paul, that I want to have as a member of Team 4X. So again, thank you. I've got tons of members like I said, in the US. I've got a lot of viewers in the UK and Australia, Germany, Japan. And in fact, probably once a month, I've got 4 or 5 people that are buying merchandise off of my website from the UK. But you're the first person to have signed up and committed yourself to being a member of my team. And I really appreciate that. So my realtor here just showed up, and I just can't believe what he showed up in. Check this out. We're going to spend the day in his green 2016 Subaru Outback.
Yeah.
And so I just want to introduce you. Gabriel?
Hi, I'm Gabriel Traister. I work for Coldwell Banker Mountain Properties, and I have my own group here, the Walking Rain Group.
Awesome.
And I'm really excited to take Scott on a little tour of the area.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's do it.
All right, let's go. So I was born in Phoenix, Arizona, and then
That's crazy.
I was brought here around 6 months old, and then my dad started building an earthship in the Greater World community.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Those things are really cool. I know a guy who built one up in Crestone, Colorado.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Amazing. So you were involved in a whole earthship project as a kid?
Well, of course I was young at that point.
Yeah.
And still am. But I got to pound some tires. It was a very wild way to grow up.
Right.
It took him quite a bit of time to build the earthship, around 6 to 7 years.
Wow.
But it's a ton of pounding tires. The amount of work that goes into building an earthship is astronomical.
So whereabouts is it regionally?
It's in the Greater World community, which is west of Taos.
Okay.
Right across the Gorge Bridge.
Does he live there still?
He doesn't live there.
Oh, okay.
But we still own the house. It's just rented out at the moment.
Okay.
But then after 12 years old, my dad decided, hey, let's go and head out of the United States. So we moved to the Kingdom of Tonga.
Kingdom of Tonga?
Yeah.
So you lived over there?
I lived over there for five years, and out there we also built another home. It was a Quonset hut.
So you lived in a Quonset hut?
Yeah.
In your teens, or was that?
Yeah. So that was in my teens, from 12 to 17.
I think you might be the perfect person to be showing me this property.
Well, I think the Quonset hut idea, and especially for islands where they experience some serious storms, it's such a strong structure.
Okay.
So
Sure.
Yeah. If you can lock down a Quonset hut, and it can take force winds that you wouldn't believe.
Right.
And that was something that really appealed to my father. But yeah, that was a very cool experience out there. A lot of sailing, but then
Oh, sure.
Yeah, but then of course the mountains are my home, and they brought me back
here to Taos.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now you're building a house?
I am. So it's in Llano. It's south of Taos.
Cool.
It's still in Taos. It's going to be a 2-story, definitely not an earthship, not a Quonset hut. I realize that there's a lot of work involved in these kind of off-grid buildings, yet I will be completely off-grid with solar.
Oh, very cool. But it's a typical construction method?
Yeah, 2x6 framing.
Got it. But energy efficient?
Exactly. So south-facing, a lot of passive solar.
Cool.
We'll have a whole array of solar panels and catch water system.
Very nice. So is this your first venture into building your own home?
This is definitely the first venture. Yes.
Good for you.
Hopefully it's one of many.
And what about Taos? Why is it that you decided to plant roots here?
So Taos really calls me because there's so many different outdoor activities for me to do.
Yeah.
Kayak down the Rio Grande, skiing.
Yeah. So you're a big time kayaker and skier?
I definitely love to be on the river, skiing, and then biking, hiking. There's a ton of trails around the San Cristo Mountains.
Right. And as you mentioned earlier, the climate and the weather here is pretty favorable summer and winter.
It is.
For all those things.
Yes, it totally is. We do have some really nice summers, hanging around in the low 80s, and higher 70s.
Yeah.
So it's
very inspiring here. I mean, there's some famous artists that have lived here for a long time, or lived here in this area. Georgia O'Keeffe.
Yeah. So she was up in Abiquiu and definitely made the trip down to Taos.
Frequently.
Often, yes.
Very interesting.
And yeah, the whole landscape kind of ties into this artist feel of the town.
Right.
All our homes here kind of tie in with the landscape so that it's not an eyesore, but it mixes very nicely. So when you look out, you still see the nature around you.
Yeah.
And not just what man has put there.
Right. Wow, look at that. It's right out here in the open. Yeah, that's what I like about places like this. They're because it's not populated, a lot of the wildlife is just out in the open all the time.
Yeah.
We're gonna walk this property. This one's more of a higher elevation. It has some trees toward the back.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's got exquisite views.
Wheeler from here, maybe.
Wheeler Peak. And it butts right up to the pond. That's interesting.
And the creek down there is the property line.
Yeah. Oh, so there are some flat spots.
Yeah.
But the trees are pretty much back on the back edge. Wow. Look at that. That's Wheeler Peak.
Yep. So the tallest one.
What is the elevation of that?
I believe that's 13,153 feet.
Wow. So 22 acres.
Okay.
Still some snow up here. So this is a 22 acre parcel. And there are some deed restrictions and covenants.
Yep. And
we're up about, what elevation do you think?
oh gosh, we're around 10,000.
10,000 feet?
Yeah.
Right here at the property?
Yeah.
It's up there.
It is. So we get a lot of snow up here. As you can see, it's snowing right now.
Yeah, it is. And still plenty on the ground. There's a meadow back here.
There is.
I mean, this is definitely buildable space right here.
Yeah, so right here is where we're looking at the meadow, and then it's going to start coming down into the valley.
And this is National Forest behind it?
So there's no national forest behind it. There's just a huge ranch.
Oh, okay. Privately owned ranch.
Yeah.
But likely, very unlikely anybody would be building right there.
Yeah, I would highly doubt that. If 1,000 acres would decide to build on your back doorstep.
Yeah. A lot of aspen trees.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. There's a nice meadow down there. I did see this one on Google Earth, and I thought this was a pretty nice property.
But the steep, it's generally pretty steep on the price.
Yeah, I think so too. I would agree. But I think this is a good exercise in you knowing what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And if you feel like there's a lot of stuff that could be opening up, or more stuff that could be opening up in May,
Yeah,
I'll be back in May probably.
We are in listing season, so we're going to start seeing things open. Or excuse me, new listings come up.
Look at this gorgeous meadow though.
Yeah, now this is beautiful.
Oh
right?
my goodness.
Yeah, I could definitely see a home right here.
Oh yeah, looking out over this.
That view towards Okate. So out there is Okate.
Okay, so Okate Peninsula, or Mesa.
Yeah.
Okate Mesa is out there. Wow, great piece of land.
Man.
Boy, there's wildlife everywhere here.
There is no shortage.
No shortage of wildlife. Probably 15 people that are waiting for me to send them information about what's going on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All right. Wow. I just got dropped off from Gabriel. What a great guy. Man, I tell you what, if you ever need a realtor for this area, for Taos, New Mexico, or in the mountain regions around this area, very, very knowledgeable. Young guy. He's in his mid-20s, but he's got his stuff together. He's building a house of his own right now. He's just very, very knowledgeable about the area and about the rules and regulations and all sorts of different things. I really enjoyed my time with him. And if I end up moving here, I could definitely see becoming friends with him and getting to know him better as just a wonderful guy. In fact, he's a hunter up here, and I wouldn't mind going out and doing a little bit of hunting with him and learning how to do some of those things a little bit more. So you never know. I did find a couple pieces of property, so we'll see where all that goes. And until I think I'll probably wrap up for today, and tomorrow morning we'll check back in with you. And Brian is supposed to come and visit with me. Hopefully he'll be here by tomorrow morning, and we'll go around and start looking at some of the other sites that Gabriel suggested that I go take a look at. What a nice comfy bed. Well, I tell you, what a great day today. I felt like I really found something I really think has potential. Found some nice properties and just met a really cool person in Gabriel. It was just a wonderful day to be alive. I think tomorrow should be an exciting day as well. I might even put an offer on a property tomorrow. That would be pretty exciting. I'll tell you more about that if that happens to go through. And then Brian, my friend Brian, is coming up from Phoenix. He's got a really nice Sprinter camper. I'll show you that as well. And he's reserved the campsite right next to me for the next couple nights, and then we'll go out and do some exploring together. I really want to see some of the surrounding area and find out some of the sites and find out what this area really has to offer. So all in all, a very productive day, a wonderful experience, and I was just really grateful to be up here and have this experience and share all that with you. And I'll be exploring around and sharing all that with you as well. So anyway, until tomorrow, good night. Well, isn't this more than I expected? It is really seriously coming down, and it's about 28 degrees. So I'm going to go out and get some antifreeze to winterize my RV, and my battery was dead. So fortunately I was able to start the engine battery by using the coach battery. But if I go out somewhere and get some antifreeze and things like that, I don't think I'll be able to turn off my Sprinter because I'm not sure if it'll start back up. And the house battery, well, the house battery's charged, so I might be able to, even though I'm not connected to 30 amp shore power. So anyway, got to get out there and get some antifreeze, I think. Probably drain out the gray water and black water tanks and just kind of hunker down for the day. As you can see, my good friend Brian here.
Hello.
Many of you know him.
Yes, how you doing?
Yeah, came out here and decided to join me up here in New Mexico and check out the property that I'm looking at. We're gonna head up to Angel Fire maybe tomorrow or Monday. And in the meantime, we're just out exploring the area and went out to this really great dinner and came out from the restaurant. Wow, just beautiful. Man, what a gorgeous day. I know I'm kind of jumping around in this video. I've been filming some and skipping over some, but in this video might be a little bit of a patchwork, but I'm still in Taos. I'm probably going to be here for another couple days. I did put an offer on a property here, and I'm really hoping it goes through. It's keeping my fingers crossed, and from what I understand from my realtor, the offer I put in was received fairly well, so I'm hoping to get a response today, even a day earlier than expected. And if that happens, then my summer changes completely. I go from traveling around the country with my RV looking for a place to buy to spending my entire summer on my property and fixing up the cabin that's on there. There is a little cabin on there. It's going to be totally just a spectacular little place, and we'll see. I don't know. Just keeping my fingers crossed, and then if that happens, I'll be sharing with all of you the renovations of that cabin. I'll be inviting some of you to come up and help me out if you want to help. I'll tell you more about it once, assuming the deal goes through. All right, so rather than rent a vehicle today, Brian showed up with his Sprinter RV. This thing is a really kick-ass RV by Midwest Automotive Designs. So we're gonna head up into the mountains today with his Sprinter, leaving mine at the campground. Try to get up into the mountains today. It did snow up there in the last couple of days, so there might be quite a bit of snow. But we're gonna go up there and check things out. And the only time I've been up there so far is with the realtor. So we'll go up there now and see if we can explore around and see some beautiful sights up there. I'm sure capture some just absolutely stunning video and photography. Here we are. Drove all the way back on this dirt road here. This is a 5-acre parcel. There's already a driveway cut in here, and there's an electrical box back there. And there's a cute little cabin here. Nothing major. There are a couple homes. There's a home back over here on another 5 acres. There's a home way back there on another 5 acres. And the road curves around here. And on the other side of the road, there's a property that somebody owns, but there's no home on it. And behind that property is the National Forest. A lot of nice, healthy pine trees on this property. And look at this. I mean, here's a nice building site for a house if I want. And this road continues around, and somebody's been using it to cut through this property to get back to another property. But I would close that off, put a barn back there, maybe a house here. And my plans this summer, assuming I get this property, will be to renovate this little cabin and do a lot of cool stuff to it. Add a bedroom, put some plumbing in, put a new deck on the front, all sorts of great things. Talk about peace and quiet. There's a couple people here also looking at this particular property. You can hear their voices, but other than that, there's really not much noise. Occasional plane going over, but for the most part, it's just almost deafeningly quiet. I can hear a little ringing in my ears even. And it snowed the last couple of days, as I mentioned, and it's beautifully warm out here. I can imagine having a really nice big deck off the front of that little cabin with a stone fireplace and sit out there in the sunshine in the morning and drink some coffee. What an extraordinary way to live. The cabin here that I'm looking at is about probably 10 to 12 minutes drive on a really nice paved highway, as I showed you, all the way up to this property from Angel Fire. And then from Taos to Angel Fire is probably about 30 minutes on a very well paved, clean road, but it is windy. I imagine in the wintertime it can be fairly treacherous, but you really don't need to go into town for that much, into Taos, because here in Angel Fire there's a grocery store and post office and a couple of restaurants, gas station, so it's got plenty of convenience. I would imagine that once I had my provisions or the materials that I would need to do some construction work or whatnot, I wouldn't really need to leave for very much. And I believe there is a hardware store up here in Angel Fire, so I may not need to go down into the valley much at all. So this is the main road on the back side of the property. This road that cuts through here is on the property that I'm interested in, and frankly, I would close that road and put a barn or something across it, and that would be the end of that. But the property, you can see the cabin way back up in there. Well, I guess it's time to move on. There's a lot of hoof prints here. I imagine elk and mule deer, whitetail maybe. Man, it's an absolutely gorgeous day. Absolutely gorgeous. I tell you what, if I can secure myself some property up here, I would love this to be my home. Right up my alley. A lot of brown bears up here, elk. I'm not sure if there's wolves or mountain lions. There might be both. Wow, this is incredible. So we just crested over a 9,800 foot saddle going south out of Angel Fire Valley toward Red River. Red River is just a beautiful little town. Looks like dropping down into Ouray, Colorado. Quite a few Jeep tours and Jeep rentals and angler shops. Steakhouse. It's the start of the ski resort. Definitely more of a developed town. So we just got down off of the mountain from Red River. We're just below Red River. There's a campground here called Fawn Lakes that has a really nice stream flowing along it here. So we thought we'd get out of the vehicle and head down to the stream, see if we can get down there. And wow, that's beautiful. Wow. Stunning.
Just hopping along.
Come here. Woo. Coming? Well, come on. Come on. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Man, talk about fresh water. Wow. Spectacular. Look at that. I'll call this home. Wow. Who'd have ever thought? I have to say I'm a lot more excited about this region than I ever thought I would be. My goal this summer, as most of you know, was to drive around, find land, and really get to know a place. You know, I had a number of places on my list to check out, and it's all about the energy for me. What's the environment like? What's the energy of the place? What are the people like? How do I feel when I'm there? And this was one of the first places I was going to check out, mostly because it's probably the closest to where I was living in Arizona. And so my plan was to come up here, check this out. I don't think I was expecting it to be quite as amazing as it is. So I don't know if I really need to drive around any further. I love the Southwest. I love the Native American feel. I love the Mexican feel. I love the Rocky Mountains and the pine trees and the aspen trees. I love the snow, but I like the fact that even though it snowed here yesterday, I'm out here and enjoying this beautiful, just brisk, clean air out here in the forest. A place like this is really me. Let's see what we can put together. Lots of trash around here in this little spot along the creek. I'm sure some kids probably come up here and hang out and party. Don't mind the partying. Just wish people would pick up after themselves. There's trash everywhere on here. Look at it all. I mean, there's trash everywhere along this. You know, my vehicle's parked up there, so people probably come out here and hang out, just party. Unbelievable. I mean, I just can't even believe it. How much garbage is out here. Found this box, perfect box to somebody else could have used to put all their trash in and take it with them. But another whole bag. Now there's more down here. There's more down there. I could probably fill up 2 more bags. But unfortunately, I don't have any more bags. And I need to get going. But next time I come back here, I'll finish cleaning that up. Just hope I don't get pulled over. Now they'll see all these open bottles. All right, let's head on down the mountain. Got a little sweaty doing that, and I ran out of breath. I'm a camp steward. Maybe you don't know what a camp steward is, unless you've already signed up at campsteward.com to take the pledge. I set up an entire program last fall, right around the same time that I was building the Team 4X member portal, and it's at campsteward.com. And it has people like you and me who love the outdoors, love to camp, love to be out there. It has you take a pledge that you will keep the forest clean, you'll keep your campsite clean, and when you're out there camping and somebody else's campsite has got a bunch of trash, you know, you make a commitment to pick it all up. Make sure their fire is out, make sure your fire is out, and just do your part. I'm not asking you to go above and beyond or too far beyond your means, but paying a little extra attention and committing yourself just a little bit more to ensure that everything in your campsite, even if it was there when you got there and it was somebody else's, you clean it up. And when you leave your camp, if your neighbor leaves before you, check their camp. Make sure their camp is clean. Make sure that their fire is dead out. And together, we can keep places like this as absolutely beautiful and pristine as possible. So I'm asking you, in fact, I'm almost begging you to kind of join forces with me and take the Camp Steward pledge at campsteward.com. All right, my friends, I think that's it for this episode of 4Expedition Adventure. I really hope you enjoyed this episode and coming along with me on this ride. If you haven't become a subscriber, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button. Of course, be sure to hit the notification bell down below to be notified of upcoming videos. And if you'd like to become a member of Team 4X, go to 4expedition.com/join to learn more. Until the next time, take care.